morning, Tottenham fans. After the Bodo game, which was very frustrating and very poor, and I criticised it myself, but looking online and looking on Twitter, people have had massive knee-jerk reactions. In fact, they've had some reactions that you probably wouldn't believe. Some of these blew my mind. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about what people have been saying already this soon about Thomas Frank. I'll give you some examples of what they said, and I'll tell you why I think it's absolutely crazy and way too early to be saying these things. Also, I want to talk about Archie Gray, the emergence of Archie Gray, in my opinion, and why I think he is going to be a top player for us, even as early as this season, and not just in the future. Also, I want to talk about why I'm so worried about the Leeds United away match. I am petrified of that game coming up. I really am. I'll let you know why. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. I'm really close to 3,000 subs now. I think I'm only about 75 away now from hitting 3,000. 3,000 would be an absolute dream for me. I never even thought I'd hit 100. So really proud of this channel, and thank you to everybody that contributes. So let's get into this then. So this for me blew my mind. It was absolutely crazy. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So I'll give you some examples of the criticism that Frank has been getting already this early in. So one of the things I heard was Frank will be sacked by Christmas. Frank will be sacked by Christmas. That is absolutely insane. Another one I heard was Frank has 3 games to improve or he needs to go. I was always, yeah, it's hard not to laugh. Frank has 3 more games to improve or he has to go. Another one said, I'm bored with this style of play. It's not sustainable. What? All right, let me get into why that's crazy. Let me get into why that is crazy. We have only lost 1 game. 1 game. Now, let me just refer back to what they said. Frank will be sacked by Christmas. We've lost 1 game. Frank has 3 games to improve. We've lost 1 game. Second thing is, we are 4th in the league. Frank needs to improve for the next 3 games or he needs to be gone. We're 4th in the league. 4th. Can you believe this crap? Right. We are unbeaten in the Champions League. It was a poor performance. I'm not going to try and protect Frank or the players for that poor performance against Bodo. But there were positives to take from it. We didn't lose for a start. Any away game in Europe is hard, but any away game in the Champions League is doubly hard. And we still came away with a point playing badly. And don't forget, we had 7 or 8 first teamers not playing in that game as well. 7 or 8 of them were not playing. We had players that weren't even available either. So it was a massive knee-jerk reaction. You know, I was disappointed. The team was good enough to beat Bodo, don't get me wrong, that we put out. But it wasn't our best team, and we still got a point as well. Also, players like Sarr, Bergvall and Gray are all showing improvement already. So Frank's already shown us that in such an early time in his tenure that he can improve players as well. Frank has 9 games under his belt. 10 if you include PSG, but I'll do the 9 from when the season started. So that gives him 5 wins, 55% win rate, 3 draws and 1 loss. And he'll be gone by Christmas apparently. He needs time to learn what his players can and can't do. Now, all you people were saying that, you know, we shouldn't have rotated so much in a Champions League away game. We should have played all the best players. That's a valid argument. I'm not getting wrong. That's a fair criticism, fair argument. But how is Frank ever going to learn what this squad can do or what his players can do, especially his fringe players, if he doesn't put them in situations where they're playing an opposition where they could be shown of what their capabilities are? For example, when we played Doncaster, he rotated a lot of the team. But what can you truly learn against Doncaster that you could learn in an away Champions League game against Bodo? He's probably not going to play that sort of team away to Newcastle in the League Cup. He's probably not going to play that same team away to Leeds in the Premier League. So it's very hard to pick a game where he thinks I can see what they can do, but still have a chance of winning. And Bodo was the correct decision, in my opinion. So tell me as well, who is perfect in the Premier League right now? Let's pick Liverpool, the favourites, my favourites to win the Premier League. And you know why they're my favourites? Because the first 5 games they won, they were very lucky to win. They weren't at their best. They scored last minute winners, but they still won when they weren't at their best. They will get to their best at some point in the season, and when they do, they're going to be pretty unstoppable. They've had a little blip already against Crystal Palace and against Galatasaray. And by the way, Galatasaray was in that really weak tournament in the Europa League that Spurs only won because it was easy. They've just beaten Liverpool. So hold that. That's what I have to say about that one. So Liverpool are not perfect. They've just lost 2 games. They've actually lost more games than we have this season, but they're the favourites for the Premier League. Also, Arsenal. Arsenal fans, if you ask them, they'd probably be on cloud 9 after beating Newcastle away, because they don't normally do that. But if you asked them a week ago or 2 weeks ago what they thought about Arsenal's chances to win the league, they'd probably say 0, because Liverpool were winning all their games. They just lost to Liverpool and they drew with Manchester City and played 3 defensive midfielders. So they're not happy with their manager either. So let's look at Chelsea. Chelsea are below us. Chelsea have got 8 points or something like that. I think they're 3 points behind us or something. And look at the amount of money they've spent every single summer. And I know it's not just all about money, but they were one of the favourites to be challenging up there in the top 4 and one of the outside contenders to win the Premier League before the season kicked off. They're below us now, by the way. And I've still got hearing people saying Frank will be sacked by Christmas. Man United are massively struggling. Massively. I think they're 14th in the league at the moment. They just completely changed their front 3, brought in some really top quality players, and they're still below us, and we're still doing better than they are. Newcastle are below us, and I believe Newcastle are a brilliant side. I think they're a really top side, but they're struggling. They're behind us. They've probably had harder fixtures than us, to be fair, but they're still behind us. So to hear people saying stupid things like, he'll be sacked by Christmas, he's got 3 games to show us what he can do, otherwise he needs to go, I'm bored with this unsustainable kind of football. The amount of times I heard people say to me that we need a pragmatic manager. We need a manager that knows how to defend. We need a manager that doesn't leave gaping holes. And then all of a sudden, we get that kind of manager, and now he's boring, and now we don't want him here. This sort of football's not sustainable. We're lucky, blah, blah, blah. It's crazy. Look, this fan base is very hard to please. It is very hard to please. It really is. We can't keep sacking managers. That does not work. We need to get a manager in and back him. I don't believe Andrew is fully backed whatsoever, and he still won a trophy, which was against the rhetoric of Enoch at the time. But if you had a Frank in who does know what he's doing, he is a very, very good manager. You can already see improvements in a lot of players that I've already mentioned as well. And you can see that if you back this manager, he hasn't got a left winger at the moment. Not a predominant left winger like we had in Sonny. We've got one available striker in Richarlison, who I think is really poor, by the way. I think he's a very poor striker. So he's got to deal with that situation as well. Also, we've got Kulu, Maddison, Mawani, Solanke. None of them are available. How do you expect him to have full-flowing, great attacking football with most of your attackers out? Most of your best attackers out as well, to be honest. So it's not easy. It's not as easy as just, why is he not attacking? The first thing he needed to do when he came into this club, sort out the defence, make us hard to beat, and that's exactly what he's done. Now let's talk a little bit about Archie Gray, because Archie Gray, for me, is improving every time I see him. And I don't see him as a number 6 now, I see him as a number 8, and I think Frank sees him as a number 8 as well. He was involved in the goal against Bodo Glimt as well. When he came on, he looked lively. His passing was good. His pressing was good. His tackling was good. He's a technically really good player. Very, very good on the ball. Very press resistant as well. His strength is massively improved. He can shrug players off the ball now. He's not easily going to ground like he was last season. His passing is excellent, like I said. His dribbling has massively improved, and the reason why his dribbling has improved is because his strength has improved as well. So when he does go around the player, he doesn't just get shrugged off and tackled. He gets around the player, uses his body to win the ball and carry on going. He is improving massively, and I do honestly believe that he is going to be an important player for us this season, not just for the future. I think he's going to improve so much. I think he's going to go up levels and levels this season. And it might even take an injury for him to get into that space. I think our midfield eventually is going to be Paulinho. It's going to be Paulinho in the 6, Gray in the 8, and Bergvall in the 10. Because Bergvall now sees himself as a 10, and Frank sees him as a 10. And I honestly believe that will be our midfield in soon. I'd say in the soon future. Most definitely. So, why am I worried about Leeds United away? Well, normally I wouldn't be. But the reason why I am worried, one, because it's an international break just after it. We have lost the last 7 games before an international break. I don't know what this hoodoo is. I don't know what the mentality of the players is before an international break. But it needs to stop, and it needs to stop at Ellen Road on Saturday. It really needs to stop. We can't keep losing games before international breaks because there's a hell of a lot of international breaks and we just can't afford to lose all those games. It's going to be a very difficult game. Leeds have started really strongly as well, so it's not even going to be a game where we should win. It's going to be a game where we'd be happy if we did win. And I wouldn't even mind if we came away with a draw and then went on to the international break. That's how much worry I have about this game. We don't normally put in a decent performance at all before an international break. We really don't. And it has to change. I want it to change. Do I think it will change? I haven't got the confidence that it will change. If I was a betting man and somebody gave me £100 and said, bet on who's going to win on Saturday, logically, if I took my Tottenham hat off, I'd bet on Leeds because Tottenham always lose these games. But this is another thing. If Frank can turn that around and get a victory before the international break, it must be said to him. Somebody must have said to him that we can't lose these games. So maybe he will really concentrate on that. Maybe that's why he rested a lot of players in the Bodo Glimt game. Maybe he's really taken this game really seriously because it's so important to get a victory. I really hope he is, but I am massively worried. Let me know in the comments what you think of today's video. Do you think Frank should leave already, or do you think we should give him a lot more time? Because in my opinion, he needs at least 2 more transfer windows, a lot of backing, and the support from the Spurs fans. Thank you for watching, and come on you Spurs.